It's snowing where I am right. Well, it stopped snowing now, but it snowed like 3 to 4 inches, 3 to 5 inches last night. So we're all snowed in. Both of my roommates are here. They're actually outside right now making a snowman. I'm just barely in my 30s. They are both older than me. So it is delightful when I got done with what we were recording before this, which was the review show. And they were like, Kyle, come build a snowman with us. I was just like, I have another podcast, but that sounds delightful.
Man, I wish I had the fortitude to build a snowman or do anything in the snow because I liked it so much as a kid. But as I grow older, I'm like, it's not worth putting on all that stuff. Like I have to layer up and go outside and then the stuff gets wet and then I have to hang it up to dry when I get inside and take off like 3 layers.
Yeah.
It's so much effort.
It's quite a bit of work to do all of that stuff. Hey, Sam is in the chat.
Hi, Sam.
Yeah, we did postpone the captain's log. But yeah, we're recording it now. Well, thank you for stopping by. Looks like you're on your way out, but that is okay. We love you lots. Thank you.
I love you, Sam. Bye.
Yeah, they in fact are not just making a snowman. They're making a polar bear. They're making one of those like Coca-Cola polar bears. So they are enjoying themselves thoroughly. It's great.
Is it going to have a bottle, or did you think that outside of the Coca-Cola reference, I wasn't aware of what a polar bear was?
Polar
bear, from Coca-Cola.
I don't know. Maybe there's a different kind of polar bear out there than Coca-Cola.
There's
right?
Coca-Cola and Lost, the 2 kinds.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, it's an interesting day. How are you, Melissa?
I'm doing okay. It's a weekend. I'm trying to relax. I'm trying to be productive. I have a big coffee.
How big is big for coffee?
It's a venti, which I believe is 20 fluid ounces.
Okay. I gotcha. Is what's your normal size then?
Normally I go for the grande, which I think is like 12 or 16 ounces. I don't know.
Okay, so this is just the next step up.
I've leveled up
to like a small like 8-ounce thing, but this is like 24 ounces.
No, I get big coffees sometimes. This was my treat to myself for doing back-to-back recordings today.
There you go. Yeah, you need some energy to get you through this. Indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to number 128 of the Captain's Log. Let's see. This week has been wild, I feel like. I got unexpectedly busy at work, which is why we had to postpone the Captain's Log. Hear all of that stuff, but yeah, this week has been pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, welcome to the Captain's Log 128. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined as always by Melissa Wilkinson, who has a very large coffee.
Big coffee. I got a new light back there, but it's so blown out I don't feel like you can see it. I got one of those little like desktop neon lights, like it's just an LED light projected through a tube. It looks like
it's like a skull or a light bulb or something.
It's a peace sign.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I bought it because it reminded me of the Go Team Venture signal, so it's sitting up there next to my Venture art book.
Do you still have your fairy lights plugged in?
They're back there. They're not plugged in right now. I only have so many outlets, Kyle.
I was gonna say if you plug in your fairy lights and then turn off that like big light that's in the corner, it might show up a lot.
I'm so bummed that the camera doesn't pick up that lamp because it's such a cool looking lamp. Like it looks really rad here with my own eyeballs, but I haven't figured out how to white balance my room just so you can see the lamp.
the lamp behind you just needs to be either a lot more dim or turn off your background stuff, and then have stuff like the fairy lights, or how I have the like red lights all back there and stuff like that, you know.
It's been tricky to like manage lighting in my room to look good on a podcast and provide enough light for when I'm working here during my desk job for 40 hours a week. And
Gotcha.
I like read here and sleep. This room has to be a lot of things, and it's hard to make the light configurations work for each of them.
Always forget to turn on the neon sign that my roommate got me for Christmas, because it's in the shape of a planet with like a ring around it. And she also got me a while back this like giant cardboard rocket ship.
Yes.
This guy here is super neat.
Yeah.
And she knows all of the Whatnot stuff is like space themed.
Aww.
So she's like, you would love this rocket. You'd love this neon sign. I was like, yes, these are awesome. These are great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that neon sign, though, it doesn't have a standard plug-in. It plugs into a USB.
Yeah.
So it didn't come with like a USB adapter thing to plug in the outlet. You just had to have your own, or use batteries. Didn't do it that way.
Yeah, it's like what my light has.
So I thankfully had like an extra like iPod or iPhone adapter thing.
I remember those.
But it gets super hot. And there's also no on or off switch. Like if you plug it in, it's on.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, I need to unplug it and stuff like that. So it's hard to remember and stuff. But yeah, if you want some help or tips and stuff like that to how to light it better, I can.
I like the lights. They don't like the camera doesn't read them correctly, and I don't know if I need to mess around with my camera or like hang up something, like put like a black tapestry back there to absorb the light. It
is because that light is incredibly bright, and so it's
isn't.
lighting
It's
your
like,
room.
It's so normal with my human eyes. It's just average light, but my camera looks at it and it's like, that is the sun.
Yeah, it's a webcam, so it's not the greatest, and it like that's the same thing with the one that you're looking at me on Skype. Like it doesn't look great, but the like really nice camera that I have makes it look a lot better and stuff like that. So it's partly that, but you can also cheat and like fix your lights to match what the camera can do and make it look nice and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just a matter of turning that light down, like dimming it, or using using your fairy lights and stuff, because you have the two lamps that are on you,
and I like them because they're symmetrical.
Yeah, those are great. That's what lights you, but to separate you from the background.
There's two of them.
Yeah, what separates you from the background? I got two in front of me and I got two behind me, and the
like
it's dimmer behind you.
It's going to bug me if I have only one of these two lamps plugged in and the other one's off. Like, I'll know that it's wrong, even if the lighting might look better. Maybe I'll invest in getting another smart bulb that I can dim.
Yeah, that, or like a surge protector so you can plug in more things and turn them off and on as you need them and stuff like that.
Telling me to turn this lamp off, and I'm here to tell you it's not going to happen. Like, you're I'll figure it out. I'll make the lamp visible how it is to my human eyes before I turn it off.
Yeah. That's definitely one way.
I have so few things in my life, Kyle, and I'm very defensive of them, and one of them is my lamps.
Let's see, I'm trying to fix something on your camera right now that was bothering me. Because we use Skype and it has the logo in there when you do the NDI source. I don't want the logo in there.
Okay.
Get out.
Melissa presented by Skype.
Right? Yeah. So I'm trying to fix it, but our new setup also does things a little bit differently, so it's harder to like control it exactly how I want it. But anyways, what else has been going on in your week this week?
I finally started watching The Crown. We talked a couple weeks ago about how my office all thinks that I watch The Crown, and every season they're like, Melissa, there's new episodes of The Crown. I'm like, I haven't watched it. And like every time there's a new season, they forgot since the last time I told them, no, I haven't seen that show.
Yeah.
I finally started it. I'm not really into it. I respect it for what it is.
Interesting. Okay.
It's the point where the narrative begins. Her dad dies in like episode 2. And so then she has to step up and become the queen, which I think I maybe knew historically. I think I was aware that that's how the narrative started. But to watch it happen is just such a bummer. Everyone's like, this show is amazing. You should watch it. And I watch the show and it's just like, remember that your dad will die. Like, okay, thanks, The Crown.
Yikes.
Like, it's just, I think it's just starting in a very melancholy place. And I'm going to stick it out a couple more episodes to see if it, like, the tone brightens up a bit, or at least becomes more exciting and not just, like, dour and dreary, which is how it feels to me. I don't know. It might just be the emotional place I'm at.
I'm wondering if it's because we just got done talking about season 1 of *Halt and Catch Fire*. I wonder if it's more so an arc of Gordon's character, where at the start of that show, he's just a pushover. Like, he is nobody. But then, there's someone who comes along that is just like, no, you have that spark. You're a genius. Like, you need to do that. And then he starts to be like, okay, maybe I understand this business stuff, right? And he has these moments of like, yes, you're getting it. You understand it.
Yeah, it's just a lot of people telling this nice lady what to do. And like, I know this is how it goes, like in real life. Like, she's the queen and the queen is like the most, right? But like her dad has just died and she's like, she's leaving her house to go to like Buckingham Palace or whatever. And they're like, hold on. You can't walk out there with your husband. You're the queen. You walk out first, and then he's going to follow you. And I'm like, she's in a rough place. Let her walk out holding her husband's hand if she feels like it. She needs him around her. It bothers me so much that this nice lady just can't live the life she wants to live. I'm like, Melissa, I think that's the whole point of the show. So I don't know if I'm going to last long with this. I think it's just at the wrong setting for me. I love the way it looks. It's a nice show to look at. I love the performances. There's some neat character dynamics in it. But I just wish everybody was nicer to each other. And I know it's based on historical fact, and it can't have been any different. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like what the show might be about there.
But there's an episode.
I also haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Right. I know there's an episode coming up because I like flipped through the Netflix episode descriptions. There's an episode coming up where the conflict is that there's too much smog in London. Like, there's just one very smoggy day and she has to figure out what to do about it. And I love that. So I'm going to get to at least the smog episode and then decide how I'm feeling.
There you go. How disappointed do you think your coworkers will be when they're like, oh man, she doesn't like the show. Everything we thought about Melissa was wrong.
No, I think they know me. They know that I'm a big old softie, and I'll be like, I don't like that everybody's pushing this lady to do things she doesn't want to do. They'll be like, oh, that makes sense. That's classic Melissa.
Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, I'm just starting season 3 of The Sopranos. So I've made it that far, which is almost halfway in.
Okay.
I still feel like it's a really slow burn. It is a lot different than I was expecting. again, it's a lot funnier than I expected and stuff. But yeah, I'm still. It's like, man, I thought there was gonna be like more mafia mob stuff going on here, and there is. But I felt like there would have been more.
Okay.
But I'm still really enjoying it.
Is it mostly like the family drama of The Sopranos, just domestically?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of the kids is about to go off to college, and so it's them picking colleges, and the colleges know who this family is. Like they know, and so it's like, do the colleges want the kid of this person in there, because that might not look good for them, or maybe it will, because they might get a lot of money, and who knows, but will that mean other characters are showing up, and we don't want them on campus, and then like the youngest son like finding out from the kids at school what his father actually does and stuff like that. There's all sorts of stuff happening.
I've never seen The Sopranos, but I've seen the episode of Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, where it's Fred Flintstone parodying Tony Soprano. Forgot his name for a second.
That is wonderful.
Like Mr. Soprano. It's wild. Tony.
Yeah, it's good. I'm more and more invested as the show continues. So it's a good show.
That's good. I've been looking for a new drama to get invested in, because, as previously mentioned, we're watching *Halt and Catch Fire* for the review show, one season a month, and I'm liking the show a lot. So I need something I want to watch it all. Like, I want to sit there and watch all of it in a week. So I need to find something else that I can also get excited to spend time watching, so that I can pace out *Halt and Catch Fire* more and not just devour it 3 weeks before I'm supposed to actually podcast about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might get back into my Lost rewatch.
Totally could. Yeah.
I am taking a lot of notes for the show as I go along. So I have notes to refer to, but still I want things to be pretty fresh in my mind. So I try and not burn it all too early before recording.
I gotcha. So Melissa, I have had a question on this document like 3 weeks now, and I haven't been able to mention it. And it's not like an all important question, but I'm sure you're curious.
I have no
as
clue
to
what it is you're
why
talking
I put
about.
This on here.
You wrote down on our doc list, you're on our list of ideas, you wrote, "Will the women's fashion industry ever be the same?" I have no idea what this refers to.
So this is just something I don't think about. I'm not a woman. I don't identify as one. I don't know anything about women's clothes and stuff like that. I was listening to a podcast that was completely unrelated to fashion, and one of the hosts is sitting there talking about his wife buying clothes online. And then gets into this idea of it's now completely different because no one can leave their house. You have to buy stuff online. But the one thing I know is that I also there's certain things I would prefer to buy in person. Right?
Yeah.
I'm just like a good pair of jeans, right? Like you kind of want to buy those in person rather than buy them on Amazon or some shit like that, right? There's just something about them. You need to be there and feel them and make sure they fit right. The other thing I know about women's clothes is that the sizes are never the same. they're just completely random. Like a size 3 in this might be a size 8 in that. And it's just how? If they're both the same size, why are the numbers different? Or why are the numbers the same and they're different sizes? I don't understand.
There's conventional sizing, and then for plus sizes, it loops around where you have 1. But 1 is the equivalent of 14, and 2 is the equivalent of 16 or 18. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't understand it. But then he asked the question of like, hey, it's almost been long enough where people are going to have to buy clothes online, or if they have not already. And I think a lot of people are really realizing the convenience of buying things online that they maybe didn't before. So he just like asked this rhetorical question of, do you ever think the fashion industry would like unify that, of like, hey, guys, look, the world is a messed up place right now. To make this better for people, we need to make like standard sizes of just like, it doesn't matter what company you are, just like, this is the size it should be. Do you think something like that would ever happen?
I don't know. I don't know anything about this. I don't know what the obstacles have been. I imagine some of it is like international differences, cultural differences, metric. Who uses metric might come into this. I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know anything about it. I just know how to read what my sizes are and what they probably are if I go to a different place. And like, as a plus size lady, I live in a different realm than a smaller woman. The realms are getting closer together. There's more overlap as time goes on, but I don't know.
Because it just like that thought never occurred to me. Like I'm sitting here at home and it's like, okay, I now have to buy my groceries online and have them delivered. Like that's the one new thing, but everything else was kind of the same for me. But then, like I don't have to deal with women's clothes and all these strange sizings of just like, well, it says it's this, but I also bought something else that said it was that, and they're completely different sizes.
Well, this is why they give you a sizing chart, and I keep one of those measuring ribbons in my drawer, so I know how many inches I am.
I've tried to do that before to like measure myself. I didn't actually have like a measuring tape ribbon thing, so I got like the cord from my old headphones and then matched that up to my T-square, and when it was like, okay, one cord length is like 2.5 feet. So if it's this long, it's that, you know. But it's still not exact, right? It's not an exact science. So I'm sitting there like trying to figure out, okay, is this jacket, which is also like made in China and is going to be imported, like what are this? Because all those sizes are different to like, I don't know. Like it's like I kind of thought my arm was this long. Maybe that's a medium, but then my chest was definitely not that size. I don't know how that happened, but but I think what made me think of that and put that on here is I also bought this sweatshirt. It's a Run the Jewels cyberpunk collaboration sweatshirt. I bought. It was a limited edition.
Cyberpunk the game or Cyberpunk the concept? The
game.
Okay.
The game. Yeah, they made some of the music for the game, or at least they had a couple songs on there. But I bought it because I really like Run the Jewels. You guys know me. I'm a big cyberpunk the concept fan. So I was really excited about this game. The game is not in a state that is playable. And they put the patch, like the first major patch out like a week ago, and it introduced a brand new game-breaking bug. So it's just like, well, you know, the next big patch is next month, and then the like next gen version of the game for PlayStation 5 and all of that stuff, they're not releasing that until like the end of this year. Well, that's when I'm going to play it. I'm basically waiting a year to play this game since its release. But I bought this, and I bought a large. Because I've bought large sweatshirts before, and they fit great. I've bought medium-sized sweatshirts, and they fit great. right? So I'm like that halfway mark where it's like sometimes a medium can fit, but sometimes it can be just a little small or a little tight. But sometimes a large is good, but sometimes it can be just a little big, right? When I got this was like it looked like it was 2 sizes too big on me. And so I had to figure out how to shrink this. And I had never done that before. And so that was like my only thing of just like, okay, what do I need to do with clothes?
Hot.
So I need to pay attention to the tag. How do I do that? Okay. Yeah. Hot water, dry it in like the super hot air. But this is also like 70% cotton and 30% polyester.
I would have expected more from Run the Jewels.
Yeah. but so I guess at the end of the day, it shrunk some. But the more polyester is in there, the less it will shrink.
Truly a scourge.
Yeah. So
polyester is one of my primary enemies.
That's her name too. It's Polyester.
I think that was one of the samurai pizza cats.
But yeah, so it fits now. It's still just a tiny bit big, but it's good. It fits now. But I think that was the like. Speaking of clothes, will the women's fashion industry ever be the same?
Golly, I can't wait until I can buy a clothes in a store, and like I can, but I can't try them on. And I'm scared that if I go, and like I'm scared that if I go to a store, yes, one of the Samurai Pizza Cats was named Polyester. I'm scared that if I go to a store that isn't absolutely necessary, somebody will yell at me. That somebody might be myself. It's been one of my goals to avoid any store that isn't a grocery store, Walgreens, or Sam's Club.
Yeah.
So who knows when I may set foot in a clothing store again.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, if you're not going to be setting foot in a clothing store, you never know when you might need to buy something that like you need to get like fitted on you or like sized or stuff like that. So you would think they would start making changes to make it easier for people to buy things online.
I don't know. I've ordered online like some basic items, new leggings because that's all I wear now. While I put on real pants. I've been able to buy basic items online pretty easily, but I'm so excited for when I can go back into a store and buy like nice going out clothes again. Cause like I want to up my fashion game and look a little bit more professional, a little bit more put together. But there's no point in me buying like a very nice pencil skirt and blazer to go nowhere. Like there's no point in it now. There's barely a point in doing it in everyday life because I work in a t-shirt office pretty much. Like nobody wears anything. We're so casual at my office, and I want to up my game, but also not do it to the point where it's like, Melissa, do you know where we work? Dustin just wears cargo shorts most of the time, right?
That's funny. I feel like I'm the most underdressed at my office. Like they don't have a work uniform or things like that. They're not like, okay, you have to wear a collared shirt or stuff like that. But most people do because they're all like business majors and stuff like that. They all dress up and stuff like that. And then there's me, jeans and a Run the Jewels cyberpunk hoodie, right? Or some like Rooster Teeth shirt with a giant robot on it.
I have fantasies about the next time our client contact can come visit us in person. I buy the same item of clothing she wore last time she came to see us, but I look better in it. This is what I daydream about. Like, I'm going to buy me an emerald colored blazer and I'm going to look like a killer in that blazer. And I'll wear this blazer so well, you'll like give my company more money because you realize you've been bested.
Will show up and do a whole who wore it better feature on you. And the obvious answer will be Melissa.
Right? It's the silliest, pettiest thing to think about. And I don't, it's a power move to no end. To what point? Like, she won't care that I'm wearing the same color blazer she did last time, so won't think about it. She won't see it as this weird, like, now I'm on your level. Look at me like a peer sort of deal. It won't matter. She won't be here for several more years.
Funny. Yeah, I have no fantasy, no desire to get back to my office at all.
When I get back to my office, I really want to like run through paper. You know, like when a basketball team is coming out on the court, they run through a sheet of paper. I want to run through a sheet of paper and I want them to play Peter Gabriel's Big Time.
And in this cubicle, it's Melissa!
Yes! They can play that Alan Parsons Project song that they played for the Chicago Bulls. I just want some powerful song. And
y'all ready for this?
Yes, yeah. And then I want to run through paper to get back to, and like they'll have to re-up it. Each department will get its own large sheet of paper to run through.
That's so funny. Man, yeah, no, I'm like, of course we were hoping the pandemic would be wrapped up by now. I think at one point we were expecting we would be back at the office by now, but I was like full on prepared to be like, I rely on public transportation. I don't want to be mixed up with all of that stuff and then bring that into the office. So you should let me continue working from home, you know? And then once that was done, I'd be like, you know what? I like it here. You guys should still continue to let me work from home. And then I would like move to a different city and they wouldn't know. Just be like, Kyle, your background changed. And say, oh yeah, this is my new room. Oh, okay.
In a new time zone. This is like when they moved buildings and almost didn't tell you. Like, you'll move entire states and not tell the office.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't gonna tell me, so I'm not gonna tell them, you know?
Right.
Just move completely out of spite.
Yeah, it's just a series of games trying to one-up the higher-ups that never result in anything.
That's so funny. Melissa, I want to talk a little bit about comics.
Okay.
DC Universe Infinite is finally here. It's been out for a couple weeks now. This is DC's new version of their DC Universe app. They just made the name longer.
Yes.
From DC Universe to DC Universe Infinite. I don't know why they needed to change the name.
We got Earth 1,
but
we got Earth 2.
Sure, yeah. But DC Universe used to be the one-stop shop for everything DC, but it was curated, is the thing that most people didn't like. So let's say, the Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey movie had just come out in theaters. They would put a bunch of Harley Quinn comics and Birds of Prey comics up there and would like feature them. Would be like, hey, you just saw the movie, now read the comics. It's inspired by, but then you would go to read like old Batman stuff and it just wouldn't be there. It's like, what? Why? And then they kind of stopped doing that and was like, okay, we'll put some of our back catalog on there, like as much as we can, and then we'll just start putting the new comics up, but they'd be a year late. So you could go get them in stores, and then a year later, they'd be on the app. Marvel had the same thing, except theirs was only 6 months behind. DC also had a bunch of like cartoons and original shows and stuff like that. We covered the Green Lantern animated series on the review show. We also did season 1 of Titans, stuff like that. Like those were shows that were on that service. But 2 weeks ago, when they changed it, they moved all of the video content to HBO Max because they're owned by the same parent company. So it just didn't make sense for them to have two streaming apps, and one was only DC content. So yeah, they moved all the video stuff off of there, and now it's only comics, and they've like expanded their comic library. They have a majority of their back catalog on there. They're still putting stuff on there, you know, as the months go by, but yeah, they have a lot more on there. The UI looks the same,
Okay,
but this is a much better app now.
good.
That it doesn't have all the video stuff on there. I've been slowly catching up with all my comics recently, and I usually let things stack up so I can like read them all in a big chunk, right? Like, oh, here's 6 issues of The Flash that I can read, and you know, it's just one big story. But I have both the Marvel and the DC app, and things were stacking up. It was getting to the point where I could probably dive in and finally start reading that stuff. My Marvel app, they increased I guess decreased their wait time from 6 months to 3 months. So, and that was because of the pandemic. Basically, like physical comics stopped for about 3 months, and the app was slowly catching up to that period. And they were like, okay, what are they going to do? And they were just like, surprise, we're moving up to date. Like nothing happened, you know? So I went, like my Marvel app got bumped up to about, I now had like 50-ish issues in there that I had to read. My DC app, which was also at around 50, got bumped up to like 80-ish issues that I had to read. And then I still do have my stack of like physical comics that I still need to read and stuff. So I've been working on the stuff in the DC app. I've got it under 20 now of the things that I need to read. But yeah, I think last week I had mentioned that like in all of 2020, I read 600 issues of comics.
Cheapers.
I'm approaching 200 issues of comics already, just in the month of January, which I guess today is the last day. So I think I'm like 150-ish around there is where I'm at. Man, yeah, a lot of reading. I read a bunch of Wonder Woman last night. A lot of stuff. I know you usually don't watch or read stuff if it's not for the review show. But is it like, do you have a list of things that you're like, oh, I would love to get to that show someday or stuff like that? Do you let things stack up like that?
Yeah, not formally. I do not have a written list somewhere, because then it becomes a series of chores. And it goes from being a desire to being something that lays on my conscience. Like I feel haunted that I haven't watched some show yet, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel haunted anymore. Yeah. That was a goal. We talked a couple weeks ago about like New Year's resolutions kind of. And one of mine was to make more time for watching more TV shows in particular outside of what we cover for the review show.
Gotcha. Yeah. Did you feel like you've gotten off to a good start with that?
I watched 3 or 4 episodes of The Crown. They're long episodes. They're like whole hours. They're not like a 43-minute.
Yeah. Yeah. Dogs are barking downstairs. I don't know if you guys can hear that on the
I can hear them.
Cast. Yeah, it might not make it in on the final thing, but yeah, both of my roommates are outside still working on that snowman.
Wow, what a feat!
Yeah. I'm trying to slowly catch up on all my comics. I've been going through like the big book that I'm like mainly reading right now is Teen Titans. I'm reading some
from what era?
Post-crisis, you know me.
Okay, so they've got like a fluffy hair.
Mid-80s, yeah. Nightwing is still in his disco outfit with the huge collar.
These are the two eras of comics: puffy hair, normal hair.
Well, there's like the pre-crisis stuff, which is like
puffy hair on Infinite Earths.
Like they have some interesting designs. They're maybe a little more boxy, more classical in the way the characters look.
Yeah.
The like post-crisis stuff is grittier, but there still are the weird choices. Like, why does this guy have mutton chops? Like, I don't know.
That's for Wolverines only.
There's a character in Teen Titans who has mutton chops. Yeah, just
Who?
big old mutton chops.
Who's that?
It's Jericho. It's
Who's one of them? What?
The son of Slade Wilson of Deathstroke.
Jericho.
Joe Wilson. Jericho.
DC Comics.
Might get a couple of them. He has like curly hair. He almost has like a curly furrow. And then he has mutton chops.
What? How old is he? That's not a teen.
He's
you
a
know
teen.
what? No, you're right. That is a teen. That's a teen. I remember Jams in particular had like quite a series of mutton chops before they were able to like grow down and become a beard. Yeah, there are some teens that like their ability to grow facial hair just extends from like their hairline down to their chin, and like it doesn't start at the chin. Yeah,
I had the sideburns for a while, and I like looking back, I was just like, why? That makes no sense. You don't look good with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm reading like mid 80s Teen Titans right now. I had read some pre-crisis stuff because the Marv Wolfman, George Perez Teen Titans run, which basically made the Teen Titans into what we know them as today, started in the 80s. So I read most of that up until Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then I stopped. So now I'm in like 86, 87, I think at the most is where I am right now. And I think I have like 100 issues to go on this series. So trying to make my way through that.
Do you think it's really architecturally sound to build a skyscraper in the shape of a T?
Probably not. I mean, I'm sure it's fine. Like, I'm sure it can stand up, but I feel like
bad with wind, probably.
Yeah, bad with wind.
It's just gonna like tilt back and forth. Yeah, you're saying like a real wiggly tower. Like they don't even need a villain. Like the wiggly tower itself will take them down.
Strap in, guys, it's a windy day. This looks like a job for the Teen Titans.
I want that to be the entire plot of a superhero narrative where like they build this
build a tower in a
like
weird
they build
shape.
Yeah, like they build a very extravagant headquarters and there's no villainy involved, you know. There's no dark acts.
It's just a bad storm.
Yeah, it's just the building itself was poorly built and that is the downfall of this team. It's just them versus not getting a good enough contractor.
That sounds like something the Venture Bros would do. in their show, especially when if the Venture the kids like grew up and then got into all the like villainy stuff, that seems like something they would do.
Hank's fate is building a headquarters that does not make architectural sense. Collapses on top of them.
Yeah. It has to be like some. I was gonna say it has to be like a giant V or something, but I feel like even that like might stand up.
Yeah, that kind of
it has
makes
that
sense.
like solid base, and they're both like equally going out from that. Then I don't know, but like he would have to think of just some like dumb random design, right? Where he's just like, it'll be the greatest tower ever, and then they're just making it, and they're all just like, oh my god.
I just want the towering inferno with a superhero, and the fact that they're a superhero barely has anything to do with it. It's just like they're just a person with a headquarters. Like, I want the Fantastic Four to just fight the Baxter Building itself. Dr. Doom has nothing to do with this.
When because they have a whole bunch of like defense stuff in the Baxter building. There have been times when they've been like locked out and have to like get past their own defenses, or like Spider-Man just wants to be like, hey neighbor, do you have a cup of sugar? And he has to go through some like some laser defense thing. It's just like, God, I just want sugar. I don't know, but good stuff. That's all. I've been taking it slow on the Sopranos, and then stuffing my face with a bunch of comics. So that's what I've been up to.
That sounds good.
This whole month, actually. One of those things I thought I would be done with this Sopranos, or like be closer to done with this Sopranos by now, but it just hasn't worked out like that. So I'm good with that. I'm fine.
I have another TV-related question for you.
Shoot a shot.
Inspired by our recent viewing and ongoing viewing of WandaVision, I wanted to ask you what sitcom you would like to be trapped in the hellscape of.
Sitcom would I want to be in? I mean, you know me, I'm a big Seinfeld fan. I think that would be fun because it's just normal life and people being stupid, right?
Yeah, and the fact that it is nothing could lend itself to
being anything, really?
Right, yeah, or to being a hellish situation like how WandaVision is, where it's like, this is an idealist, an idyllic sitcom life, but there's something ominous about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think also like Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah,
I think would be a fun one to be in. That's a classic one. Yeah. I've been going through Bob's Burgers with my girlfriend.
Nice.
Yeah, and she's a big fan of that show. I'm loving it. But I think that would also just be a fun town to be in, because wacky stuff happens all the time in that town. But it's both equally like completely ridiculous and crazy, and also has that like sense of normalcy that Seinfeld almost has there. Like, you can just go hang out at the burger joint, or you can go to Jimmy Pesto's and have some Italian food and get into some shouting match of something, right? I think that'd be fun, and you have the whole like Ferris wheel pier thing going on right there. Good little town there.
Yeah, that's a nice town to spend some time in, wherever it is.
Yeah, that'd be a fun one. Mm-hmm. What about you? What sitcom would you want to be trapped in?
I think I'd be well suited to being trapped in The Nanny. Not to displace the irreplaceable Fran Drescher, but that's a sitcom I really love, and I like the format of it. It's romantic enough that I would like to be there. Like, I just stumble into this job where I'm the caretaker for these lovely children, and my love interest is this handsome British Broadway producer. You get to wear all these beautiful outfits, but that sitcom also has enough hell loops in it that I think it would work great for being a pocket dimension I'm trapped in. Like, there's a plot point on the show where the dad of the family like tells her he loves her, and then he takes it back because he's so nervous about what this is going to do to upend his life, and like he's worried about his children.
You'd be like, wait, I take that back.
Yeah.
Does he say that, or is he
I
just
don't.
like
I've never.
inner monologuing like, ooh, I shouldn't have said that. Maybe
No,
I don't.
I've never seen that episode. I've just seen the episodes after it where they mentioned that he told her he loved her and then took it back.
Oh man.
Probably just because he's like, no, the children, we're all still recovering from the death of my wife. They're not ready for this. Miss Fine, maybe later. I forget I said anything. I want to uphold our professional relationship. And like, she's obsessed with Barbara Streisand, and she's always in a situation where she thinks she might meet Barbara Streisand and always misses her. So like just this getting the rug constantly pulled out from under her, I think would make a nice hellscape backdrop.
They have something like that in Seinfeld. I think one of the ones we watched maybe had that in there when we did our sitcom exchange, where Elaine,
yes,
I forget the person.
Oh, it's John F. Kennedy Jr. She thinks she might have a chance at dating.
She's obsessed with him, and that's like a running joke in the series is that she's in love with him. This like that's her celebrity crush. And just like every once in a while, like might be on the same subway car or something. Like I saw John F. Kennedy Jr. today. Like, yeah, good stuff. I think Community would also be I would want to be a student at that school while they do all their strange stuff because just stupid stuff happens in that show and it's wonderful. They have like paintball fights and so good. So good. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Though that's the thing. I feel like some of those shows aren't risks though, right? Like
right. Yeah,
Seinfeld
like Community is
risk.
Like yeah, like you're not going to mess up Community more than it's already messed up. I was thinking of like what's a sitcom that's like kind of picturesque enough to begin with that can then be corrupted. Where like I'm just trapped in a situation where like the man keeps telling me he loves me and then taking it back.
Yeah, I think something like Leave It to Beaver or even like the why am I blanking on the name? Barney Fife is the cop.
Oh, the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah, that one. Because like Leave It to like those older style sitcoms are very much the type that like every episode it just restarts. Like, because the previous one essentially just didn't happen. Like, you don't need to know it to watch that show. So there is this essential, like, meta loop of like, you're almost restarting this loop, but you don't know what's going to happen in each one. And that can kind of be horrific in a weird way.
Yeah.
But I think another interesting one to be in would be the Twilight Zone.
It's not a sitcom, Kyle, but okay.
I know it's not a sitcom.
We're applying right. Like the Twilight Zone to other things.
Liberal. That's real liberal, right? But just to like, what if that was the thing of like you're a background character in a number of these things, and you just don't know how you got there, but like the story is never about you, right?
Yeah, like you're not the one being punished. You're not the subject of the cautionary tale. You're just collateral damage of the cautionary tale.
Yeah. Whether you're collateral damage and you realize it or you don't, and like someone else recognizes you of like, hey, you were in this other thing.
Remember that all those pig face nurses?
Right? Yeah, that was you.
Remember Jack in the Box Man?
Right, yeah. Just like something like that, I think might be creepy. Where it's just like, I mean, you're a big like X-Files fan, and yes. I don't know if you've seen much of Fringe.
I watched the first season or two while it was airing.
Okay,
but that's a show I'd like to return
about
to.
The like the Watchers or what I forget what their names are, but those people that keep showing up, they end up doing something with them. Yeah, they end up doing something with them in the plot. But what if that was something that the viewers of the show saw and noticed, but it wasn't ever something the show mentioned?
Uh-huh.
Like, I think that would be some kind of like hellscape, right?
Yeah.
Where like some mystery is evolving in the background, but it's never mentioned.
Like the characters don't even get to it. They don't solve it for you. Like it exists
don't even
entirely in
know.
your own head. Yeah. It's like you're the only person who's ever seen Blendin Blandin.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Exactly. I think that would be interesting. I think we do need to do another spoiler section for WandaVision. Yes. I do also think, though, this should be our last one for a while.
Yes.
I think after this, we should wait till the show is done to at least talk about it on the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I know if we end up doing it each week, then it's going to go all through February and then into Falcon and Winter Soldier and stuff like that. And it's every single show is just going to be the Marvel recap show. But before we get to WandaVision, though, I do have to ask, because this dominated the news cycle, especially in the video game world. Have you been keeping up, or do you know anything about this GameStop stock thing?
No, because I didn't think you'd bring it up here. I figured you'd save this for crossplay, and I'd never have to deal with it.
We mentioned it on crossplay, but it's the weird thing of like, it really has nothing to do with video games. Like this thing just exploded on GameStop's lap, and they're just like, shit. Well, okay. Hi, we're still here, I guess. But yeah, this has been wild to keep up with. I think in the past week, I have learned more about the stock market than I ever have in my entire life. Like it's a strange one. I don't know if this like made it into your world or not, or like how much. I know it only in the most
approximate sense, because I think this came up on like a Disney podcast I listened to, where like the hosts are also really into video games, and like sometimes for their opening episode, how has your week been banter, they'll bring up video game things. Yeah. But I think they were talking about how in general it's like a bunch of people just for the heck of it, like ironically bought games.
Kind of.
They ironically bought stock in GameSpot, Game Store.
Yeah, so here's a short explanation that really helped me to understand it, because I am absolutely not an expert in the stock market.
No,
I don't even know if what they're doing is completely legal. It seems to be in like a weird gray area of like, well, technically they can do it, but it's real shady. So I don't know exactly, but this helped me to understand it. And I think the first thing you need to know is what a short is. People keep mentioning the movie.
I already feel like
Short.
I need to lie down.
It's actually a lot. It's very simple now that I understand it. You know, the stock market, they're always like buy low, sell high, right?
Yeah.
A short basically does the opposite of that. Whereas if I come to you and you are a stock broker or a company or whoever, I instead say, hey, I want to borrow a stock. And so I will take the stock and immediately sell it. And let's say the price for Melissa stock is $10, right?
Okay.
And so I immediately sell it for that $10. A short is then me hoping that the price for your stock goes down. So I borrow this stock. I did not give you any money. I now owe you $10, right? I sold that stock for the $10, but I'm hoping that the price of that stock goes down, because if it goes down to say $7, I can then be like, hey, here's $7. The price for that one stock that you let me borrow. So now I've repaid you, but I made $3.
Oh, no, I want to put a blanket over my head.
So that's basically what a short is. And all these hedge funds and stuff like that. That's what they do to companies. That's what they've been doing for decades to these failing companies. And this group on Reddit basically noticed that they were shorting GameStop and that they took out a whole bunch of these short stocks. And so they were like, well, what if we do a similar thing and fight back? And so they basically got a bunch of them to buy up a bunch of GameStop stock, which then means if more people want it, the value increases, right? So
okay.
So if I borrowed that stock from you at $10 and I sold it for $10, but the stock then increases, I only have $10 and I still owe you more money. So I have to go find money elsewhere and stuff. So basically by buying up all of this stock, this random group has been like bankrupting these like billionaire hedge funds and stuff like that. And on one hand, everyone is like, this is great. Eat the rich. Like these guys have like we're all unemployed and need help. And we like $600 for that's not going to do anything. Thankfully, you and me both seem like we've been totally fine. Yeah. We don't really need that help. There's a lot of people out there who just don't have a job, don't have a house, and they are losing money. And for them to buy, like a whole bunch of GameStop stock and then for it to skyrocket and then cash out, they've paid off bank or like medical bills and stuff like that, and it's helped them while bankrupting these like rich billionaires that are taking all of their money and stuff like that. So it's interesting, but it also has nothing to do with GameStop. Like it just happened to be.
It could have been anything. Yeah. It's like, what's a mockable company? GameStop.
Yeah, well, besides GameStop, they were like, who should we do next? And they were like, let's do AMC, the movie theater chain. Let's do Build-A-Bear, because no one's buying Build-A-Bear anymore. Like, it's so ridiculous, but it's a fascinating thing to watch because nothing like this has really happened before, where the stuff that these like stock broker, hedge fund, rich people who know that stuff, they've been exploiting that loophole, and then these other just normal people found a loophole to their loophole. And so it's just like, yeah, you've been doing all of this shady business, how about we give you a little bit of your own medicine there? So it's interesting. But that's all I really know.
I hope this leads to a time of greater knowledge and peace and cooperation among the people, where maybe it's not various cycles of shady business. It's just people not literally shaking hands, but like metaphorically shaking hands with each other, saying, let us be peers.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what they're doing, and being like, hey, let's be peers and take down the evil capitalists.
Yeah, no, but like there's no taking down, because like if they step down and they're friends with you.
Well, maybe one day.
I don't know. I try and be optimistic that we live in a time that will lead to people thinking about other people more.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I agree with that. I think that's the ideal we should strive for. But yeah, wild stuff though. That's all I'll say on that. It's been fascinating to watch. But Melissa.
Yes.
We have got to talk about WandaVision.
Yes, this is a very special episode. Yeah.
So if you don't want spoilers for the first few episodes of WandaVision, I would end the podcast now, maybe?
Good night.
Yeah, Melissa, where can they find you on the internet? You all are social media stuff.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. And listen to my other podcast, Saturday Morning Obscurities.
There you go. You can find me at Yo Kyle Springer on Twitter and Instagram. Stay up to date with our shows at the Whatnauts on Twitter. Go like, share, subscribe. You guys know the deal. Let's get into spoilers.
Sounds.
Yeah, sound. You guys heard the spoiler alert thing that we play on the review show here on the Captain's Log. Now I can do all of that. Oh, cool. I loved this one. This one was great.
I really wanted to talk about this one because we've seen these 3 episodes of the sitcom Hellscape, as previously discussed. And this is the one that broke out of that format, stepped outside, and contextualized everything.
Yeah. And there were some things I didn't expect. Some things I was like, okay, this has been confirmed now, and you know this thing and that thing. But yeah, it was neat to see. Like, it's not like, oh, we've done the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Now we're gonna do the 80s, right?
That's what I was expecting to happen this week,
but it didn't happen yet. Yeah. And we got a whole thing on the outside and how Sword is dealing with this and what Sword is exactly.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So maybe let's start there. Let's start with Sword.
Yep, it is confirmed to be sentient weapon observation and response department.
Which
and
makes a lot of sense.
Founded by Maria Rambeau, who is unfortunately appears to be deceased in this timeline. I was really looking forward to seeing her again, but I feel like when they talk about her past, they gave a lot to her character. I'd love to hear everything they had to say about her. I love that after Carol vanishes and comes back, Maria goes on to found this institution and includes framework for this is what we do if an employee disappears and then comes back.
Yeah, because they're dealing with these sentient weapons, right? But that they basically Agent Cartered her. Is what they did to Maria Rambeau, where they were like, oh, she went on to found S.H.I.E.L.D. She went on to found Sword. And you don't see that story. Like, I would still like to see that story there.
Yeah, I hope we do get to see it.
Maybe we'll get more of that in Captain Marvel 2. I don't know, because we know Monica will be in that one. So we'll get to see it a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I'd watch a whole Maria Rambeau television series.
Yeah. So, so we get to see sentient weapon observation and research department.
Response.
Research and development or
research?
No, because they're not developing.
Sentient
department.
Weapon observation response
research
department. Response.
Response.
Research. Response.
It's one of them. But yeah, and it's we also get to see the unblip, the reverse blip, where everyone starts coming back, and we see a hospital scene of people coming back, and it's chaos. That was interesting to see. That was wild. Especially them not realizing they've been gone for years.
Right, because Maria was asleep when she was snapped. So when she comes back, she thinks she just dreamed that. She does not remember the way like Spider-Man does disappearing.
Yeah. And then she ends up showing up at Sword just like it's a normal Monday.
Well, back to work.
And her card isn't working, but the big boss was kind of expecting her to be like, oh, she's probably gonna show up sometime around here. But yeah, that was interesting to see. The one thing about Sword that I'm wondering, this made me think. I mentioned this in our Discord, which you guys can go join at thewhatnauts.com/Discord. This made me think about Nick Fury, because in, was it Spider-Man 2? We get the post-credit scene of him.
Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah, it's the second one.
Do you know what I found out recently? This isn't totally related. We've all been talking about the upcoming Tom Holland Spider-Man movie and just calling it Spider-Man 3. I was reading some interview with Kevin Feige where he says they call all of those homecomings. So it's like Far From Home was Homecoming 2. This next movie is called Homecoming 3. I guess to differentiate it from the Sam Raimi movies.
That makes sense.
That's their like in office, especially him, because I think he worked on some of those. He worked on at least the third one in some sort of a production capacity. Yeah, they call it Homecoming 3.
Homecoming 3. Yeah, but so she gets... So, all right, Nick Fury. Last we saw him in that post-credit scene with Spider-Man 2, with Homecoming 2. He's in space with the Skrulls, wakes up because he gets a call from Talos, and then after the call is like, okay, everyone, back to work. Who has my slippers? And that's it. And I think everyone just assumed that was Sword. Because he's in space, they're on a big spaceship with there's Sword.
That's
Nick Fury is doing Nick Fury things. I went back and watched that. There's not a Sword logo in sight on that.
Yeah.
So I know Sword is doing space missions because they mentioned it, that they would do missions off world and stuff like that. It very well could be he's Sword still. But they haven't confirmed that yet, and I just realized that like they haven't said that Nick Fury is now in Sword. Like maybe he's the space boss. He's the top dog in space.
This is something we could be on our way to because we have had Sword as a canonical in the MCU entity for all of like 34 minutes.
Right. Yeah. So we don't know much. But we learned that the beekeeper is no one important. It's Agent Franklin, whoever he is.
I thought that was interesting that he goes in a hazmat suit and it
changes him. Yeah.
It's this Westview bubble that turns that into something innocuous, which is a beekeeper outfit. But the context in which we then see this person, the beekeeper outfit becomes so ominous. Right? Even though it is supposed to be a more positive version of what it was originally.
Yeah. It's interesting because like that was solved and kind of put out of our minds now. Okay, we don't need to think about the beekeeper. We don't need to be like, oh, is this secretly Mephisto? Is it AIM? Who knows? No, it's just Agent Franklin, whoever that guy is.
I like that
just
this
some
episode
rando
kind of revealed that we have like these mini mysteries that are only lasting for like 2 episodes. And it's only because we're only getting one perspective. We switch perspectives. The loop is closed. That mystery is solved. But we still have a lot of larger mysteries that are still ongoing. I like that this episode gave us a good dollop of answers to tide us through the rest of the series.
That's a good word. Yeah. And we also get to see Jimmy Woo and Darcy.
Good to see them again.
Their returns. And he can do the magic trick things. He
can
do it.
I'm so proud to see how both of these characters have evolved since we last saw them. And I don't know any of their situations with being dusted or not. But one thing that struck me is that Darcy is a doctor now. When we meet her in Thor, Jane's the astrophysicist. Darcy's her assistant. Darcy, she mentioned she was like a political science major. This isn't her branch of science at all. She just needed an internship. Jane needed an intern. They're mismatched, but they're the only people who agreed to be with each other. Darcy does not have real academic training in astrophysics, at least in the first Thor movie. Maybe she grows across, the dark world. But I thought it was remarkable that in this time she's a doctor now. And we can only presume she's a doctor of astrophysics unless she completed the doctorate in poli-sci because she was mostly done. But then astrophysics
did she say what her doctorate was in? Because there's that scene when she shows up and she's like, oh, what are you? And they're like, we're not supposed to talk. He's like, okay, you're no fun.
Well, she says she is a doctor and she's an expert in astrophysics, but I'm like, what if that's just through everyday experience being around Jane? We don't know.
Yeah.
And I wondered if maybe
stuff like that.
Maybe if Jane got dusted, we don't know. Maybe Darcy was used to leaning on and being in this world among these real astrophysicists. And then when they disappear, she's like, I gotta do this for myself. I gotta pick up the gauntlet. No, not the literal gauntlet that Thanos is waving around, but a metaphorical gauntlet. She's like, it falls to me now. I need to know about this. And then maybe she's gotten that doctorate in like the last 5 years because Jane wasn't around.
Maybe, yeah. I like seeing them. That magic trick was a nice touch,
right? And like maybe
Jimmy Woo.
Right, and I don't know if he's been dusted or not, but I like to imagine he's just been around for the last 5 years.
Not.
Just doing magic tricks
of his knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah,
Same thing with
that's true.
Darcy.
And I remember hearing in New Rockstar's breakdowns that this show is supposed to take place approximately 3 weeks after Endgame. And I don't exactly remember what that timeline hangs on, where in the narrative that's made clear to us, but that would place it before Far From Home.
Yeah. So we know Monica comes back with the unblip or the unsnap or whatever. And then I'm assuming it's at least a few days before she goes back to work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming she doesn't really go out to New Jersey like that day, but maybe in like, hey, you leave in 2 days or you leave in 30 days if you need to do some stuff here since you just got back here, right? So yeah, I could see how this would be like a few weeks or a week or two after the events of Endgame there. Spider. Yeah. I guess that's about it. I think that maybe is really the only keys that we have to when this is taking place so far.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there was something else mentioned, but I don't remember exactly what it was. But yeah, this puts this, so when we would see Nick Fury at the end of Far From Home, that's several months ahead of where we may be now. So maybe that is part of Sword, but it's like something new they've been working on for Sword, and they haven't had the logo painter sent up there yet.
Yeah, no graphic designers in space, right?
Yeah. Something interesting is that when Jimmy Woo was writing out that question board,
the scrolls thing?
Yeah, right. So he's aware of scrolls, which is fascinating to me.
Well, so we know that the Skrulls have been in the MCU since the 90s.
Yes.
We don't know that. We know that Nick Fury was also a Skrull for some of this stuff. We don't know
Maria too.
All of the examples, right? It could have been him. It could have been Talos. We don't really know. But yeah, it could have been. So that, yeah, there are these things of like, there's probably certain people out there that know of this stuff. For Jimmy Woo to know that, though, that's interesting. Because he's just like an everyday normal FBI guy. Like, he's not S.H.I.E.L.D., he's not Sword, right? Like, he's not anyone special. He's just FBI agent Jimmy Woo.
He's
certified magician.
Obsessed with his job. I like that he mentions having an Elliot Ness poster in his bedroom as a kid. He wants to give his son a small badge. His theoretical son will have a theoretical badge. Like, everything he does comes back to work.
You want some? Yeah, I've been thinking about it, to have a little Jimmy Woo running around. And she's like, no,
do you want a
chips?
chip?
You want some of these chips? It's so good. Yeah, they played off each other really great. I loved him because, like, they're both smart, but like deceptively not smart. If that makes sense. That might not be the right way to put that, but Darcy is so sarcastic and sassy and just does not compose herself like a doctor. Right?
Yeah.
She, that she seems like she's not smart in that stuff, but she is.
Maybe she spent the last 5 years devoting herself to pronouncing Mjolnir correctly.
Right, yeah. And then Jimmy is he just seems like this bumbling idiot, which we know from
Bumbling
Ant-Man.
and bubbly.
He is. That's exactly what he is. He's just a bumbling idiot.
He's
like,
in the
"Wait,
grand scheme of things.
Are you asking me out on a date? No, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. No, they can just hang out, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they play so well off each other. I like seeing them together.
Yes.
That was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I want to see them figure it out. I want to see them solve this mystery and what is happening. It is now pretty much confirmed that this is, well, I don't want to say it's pretty much confirmed. It's now a stronger theory that Wanda is doing this to herself.
Yeah, but we still don't know if there is a force acting on her that just cannot be detected or foreseen by any of these forces. Maybe they're not thinking about what if it's the devil.
Yeah, I still don't know if they're going to introduce Mephisto. I don't know though, but we'll see. We'll see, because that could tie in easily to what people are expecting in Spider-Man. So I don't know. Or it's speculating and will happen in Spider-Man Homecoming 3.
Homecoming 3.
Yeah, I don't know. What did you think of Dead Vision?
Ooh, chilling.
Yeah. That was an interesting one. It was interesting to see that scene from Wanda's perspective where she kicks Monica out, fixes the home, like things are like breaking at that moment, right? And that's why she sees Vision for what he actually is, just this dead corpse, right? This like walking dead thing.
Yeah, and we just still don't know if that corpse is there, you know, being enchanted to puppet around, or if that's just like a mental flashback she has. She looks at the face of her husband and remembers the time a purple man from space took the rock out of his head that made him alive.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so much stuff in this one that I'm just like I loved it. I love the mystery. Like it's it almost like if they took this show at a slower pace, this almost would remind me of Lost. Like especially that beekeeper moment. Yeah. That is a Lost ass reveal, man.
Yeah, that's Jack seeing his dad's ghost. You know, this time this town reminds me of Dharmaville. Juliet having her book club. Ben cooking a ham.
And I don't want it to go in that direction because I think the direction that they have for this is great. But I'm wondering, is this a show that they're one and done with? Is there going to be a season 2?
As far as I know, all of these Marvel shows are just one season limited engagements. Yes.
On one hand, I like that.
This in particular seems like it's something that does have a very limited window of time, whereas maybe I could see Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming up with more side adventures to do for years to come in the MCU.
Sure. Yeah. And I think they need something in their pocket that is something that they can be like, hey, we're going to do 5 seasons of this thing, right? Mm-hmm. But I really enjoy what they're doing with these limited series because they can be very, very story focused and tell this really tight story and have it tie into the MCU. And well, I mean, they all tie in, but like very specifically, like, hey, we are setting up something in this thing so that it will affect these other things, right? And it's not
like we're not one of the dominoes.
Shield, where it was like it kind of ties in when we want, but then it doesn't really, and you know.
We are not one of the dominoes that falls over. We're the hand pushing the domino.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Or we're the ones setting them up. So Oh, I don't know. Like this one was, I think, fascinating to watch in the sense that we got the flip side of the coin.
Yeah.
But I don't think it also really revealed much.
No, I think it gave us some helpful context, but it's not an answer. It's some answers. We're filling out this patchwork quilt, but we're not done with it yet. One thing in particular I was interested to see is that, well, I guess we got the hint of it, you know, at the end of the first episode. But yeah, they were getting direct sitcom broadcasts out there. They click into the airwaves and that's what they have, commercials included. Yeah. And they're all watching it like a television program. And I love when they're filling out the town roster and it's like Jane Harris as Mrs. Hart.
Excuse me.
like they're all given credits up there on that board.
I like that though, because then like they're now we at least know that these are. Well, were they naming the actors' real names of like, hey, this is that actor at like, and she's just imagining that actor is in this thing playing that, or
it's
are
like
they
this
just,
is a real citizen of New Jersey, who is a citizen of Westview that is now playing this role in the sitcom where they live.
Gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, I like the fact that they are then like finding out who these people are.
Yeah.
Or who they say they are.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Right. Because like that was one of the shows that is coming up down the road is Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
Which I reread recently, and I think to do that show right, to really make that show shine, they really need to start weaving the scrolls in to more of these shows and start having reveals like, hey, not all the scrolls are good, right? Like Captain Marvel did the twist that, hey, the scrolls are good guys in this one, right? Because they're usually not. And so that was a little bit strange. But yeah, if the scrolls factor into this show, if they somehow factor into Falcon and Winter Soldier, that would be wild. If they're in like Spider-Man or Doctor Strange, like that would be interesting. And the big reveal doesn't need to be like it was the scrolls, but just like to have them be in the show, to have them be like, oh, this character was a scroll the entire time. You thought that was Nick Fury talking to the Avengers at the Hawkeye Ranch? No, that was Talos. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see the most innocuous character. I want to see the most innocuous character who has been a Skrull this entire time. Just the principal Spider-Man school. That guy, Skrull. Playing a very long, slow game.
I also want a major character to be that. Like I want Falcon to be a Skrull.
No, my sweet boy.
Well, no, that's not to say that like they can't, like they never existed. They were a Skrull the entire time. The whole thing in Secret Invasion is they got kidnapped and replaced.
Yeah, they're somewhere. So, I understand.
Yeah, so they're out there. Yeah, so
the
like
Skrulls are pretty good. Talos is a rad guy.
Yeah, it'd be neat to have like some of the heroes that we know and we've come to understand and stuff. Like they were Skrulls and stuff. And it's like, oh shit, where's the real Black Widow? Right?
Yeah, for all we know, Maria may be out there, and maybe this Maria who died was Talos. Well, no, Talos' wife has been Maria Hill. Too many dang Marias. Yeah, there could be another
Maria.
But yeah, that's possible. Maybe that wasn't really the Maria Rambeau we originally knew. It was some Skrull who's been living as Maria Rambeau while she's off in space.
Do we know what the plot of Falcon and Winter Soldier will be yet?
Not exactly. I think Baron Zemo is back, and we're going to be dealing with U.S. agent.
Okay.
Who's like sense. Another guy who the government wants to be the new Captain America. But nope, it's going to be Falcon.
Well, Falcon is, I think, well, yeah, I guess I don't know what they're going to do. I'm going more so by the comics.
We can presume that Falcon is very likely to be very strongly the new version of a Captain America, even if perhaps he'll be serving the Captain America role. But he's like, I'm used to the name. Just keep calling me Falcon. But think of me like you think of Captain America.
Captain Falcon. Yeah, like I'm wondering if that is going, because the whole like Captain America Winter Soldier stuff deals heavily with spies and espionage and stuff like that. I'm wondering if Falcon and Winter Soldier will do the same thing of uncovering spies and stuff like that, or something similar, right? But that's where we can start to question of like, I wonder if this character is not only a spy but a Skrull. Right, like that's the whole thing that they might be chasing down.
It's been Jimmy Woo. He wrote down Skrulls on the board to try and detract attention from himself.
Right. Yeah. Who knows? I want them to start weaving that in so that when Secret Invasion gets here, we're just like, all right, let's freaking go. This is gonna be all out war. There's going to be this big reveal. It's going to be great. So I'm excited, to say the least.
I think they're off to a strong start. I know WandaVision has been not the smoothest ride for everybody, possibly because it is so withholding of information and it's such a strong, weird premise to begin with.
I'm so confused because I felt like I knew exactly what this show was going to be like, basically since trailer 1, when they announced it, basically. And I've heard so many people, after watching the first 2 or 3, be like, I didn't know it was going to be this thing. Oh, this whole like sitcom thing. It's like, where have you been? They've been telling us that the entire time.
Yeah, I have to keep reminding myself that I'm deep into the Marvel camp and like I watch not necessarily every individual promo, but every major trailer I see. I watch a lot of breakdown videos. I watch theory videos. Like I'm deep into like I know everything about like how the original Phase 4 lineup and now the Phase 4 lineup has been shifted around a bunch of times.
I get that. And I agree. I have to think about that a lot when we're on cross play of like, oh, I know, why this thing sold so much or why it didn't. But a lot of normal people don't know that stuff, or just ones who don't pay attention to that stuff as much. But that's the thing. Like, it's not like they've been hiding it in the trailers. Yeah. The trailers say that. And if all you do is watch a trailer, it's right there.
Yeah. Although admittedly, the show does start like in media res. It's hard for you to contextualize. The characters can't contextualize it for themselves. The first episode is like, something's weird. We're talking around stuff and we don't really know why we're talking around stuff. The first episode, I think I can imagine if you weren't really keyed into what this whole thing was going to be, I can't imagine it being a baffling experience.
And this was also not supposed to be the first thing that people saw of,
it was supposed to be Black Widow, and then I forget the exact order of things. Black
somewhere
Widow.
In there,
I think Falcon and Winter Soldier were supposed to come before this.
First well, So I don't know. Yeah, they who knows? We're in the weird now. That's for sure.
We're in the end game now.
You have final thoughts on WandaVision episode 1 through 4 so far? Something that we missed?
I've really been digging them. I'm excited for more. One thing, I loved this new episode. The only thing I was bummed about is that I didn't get a new commercial. I love these commercials.
Commercials are good indeed. Yeah, I think we'll get a couple more of them. Do you think they're going to do another episode like this where it's the complete other side, or do you think they're going to like mix in?
Well, I think we're going to get at least 3 more sitcom episodes for the 80s, 90s, 2000s. Yeah, I don't think the 2010s can really be defined by anything as that separate from the 2000s yet. So I think we've got at least 3 more episodes structured the way the first 3 episodes were structured. And then I guess the rest of the episodes may be more combined. I don't know if we'll get something that's wholly on the sword side, devoid of much of Wanda and Vision's point of view.
Yeah, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see indeed. I'm
It's
excited.
fun. Yeah.
Like 4 more episodes, 5 more, 4.
8?
Yeah, I think there's 8 total. So
8
we've
or
done 4,
10?
so maybe 4 more. We shall see. But man, I am excited to see where it goes.
It's been a great time. It's been wonderful to have this to look forward to every week. I like that it comes out like so early that day. Like it's there when I wake up on Friday morning. I get to watch it.
There's a lot of people who stay up till midnight, and right when it hits midnight or whenever it comes on, they are right there. Yeah.
Yeah. I've mentioned the New Rockstars YouTube channel many times. That's my go-to source for any nerdy knowledge I need to have. They've started using this new app called Stereo, which is like live streamed radio shows. It's kind of like a podcast, but you do it live and you like click into it with this app, and then you're able to send them questions and like record, like call in. It's like call in radio through an app sort of. And like they're doing it like 10 a.m. my time every Friday. They'll record their WandaVision post show and then also make it a YouTube video to watch later.
That's awesome.
So it's nice to know that like if I'm having a slow Friday where I have that much mental energy to spare at 10 a.m., I can tune into that while I check manuscripts.
Yeah, indeed. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, I guess that wraps us up then for our spoiler portion for WandaVision. I think once the show is done, we will finally come back and talk about it more. Yeah, great show, great stuff. We've, I guess, already. Do you want to do the social media stuff once more? No, we're done. They know who we are.
Yeah.
I'll put it up on screen at least so you guys can see all of that stuff.
They remember us from before.
Down there, you guys know the deal.
Still
all
saved.
That stuff.
Not a scroll.
I do have to say, Whatnauts Wednesdays. Don't forget about those. We're playing video games every night, or not every night, maybe one day, on every Wednesday night on our Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/the Whatnauts. I guess this will go right into housekeeping. We are now officially Twitch affiliates. So you guys can subscribe to us here on Twitch. I think a tier 1 subscription is like $4.99 or something. But if you have Amazon Prime, you also have a free Twitch Prime subscription that you can give away. You just have to link your accounts. And then you can give that away, and it's free money if you give it to us. You don't have to pay an extra thing. You can just be like, Jeff Bezos, give them money. And Jeff Bezos will come to my house, poop out a $5 bill, and hand it directly to us. So that's how that works there. But yeah. Do all that stuff. If you weren't aware, despite me just kind of mentioning it, we have multiple podcasts here at the Whatnauts. You guys can find out more information on our website, which is thewhatnauts.com, as well as your favorite podcasting platform of choice. Just type in the Whatnauts and all our shows will be right there. If you like what we do, patreon.com/the Whatnauts is where you can support us for as little as $1 a month. We also have a $3 tier, which you guys can get all kinds of exclusive content. We just recorded our next Patreon exclusive thing for Crossplay, which is a 2021 video game fantasy draft. We took a look at all the games that were supposedly coming out this year, and we drafted them onto our team in hopes that they perform well. And we will be checking in with that throughout the year. So it's a little bit of a different style of draft than we've done in the past with some things, because we've done some. I think we did a movie draft for a Patreon exclusive thing for Crossplay, and then we did another draft on.
We did the candy draft
here. Yeah,
that was really fun.
Draft. So We have all of that stuff on there. I'm going to be working on that today, so it should be up this week. So be on the lookout for that. But that's about it. Go like, share, subscribe, leave us a kind review if you like what we do.
Yeah.
That would be much appreciated. But with that, Melissa, let's get out of here. We will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.